You are kept from your goal, not by obstacles, but by clear path to a lesser goal. As I was rereading, I was started to share with you the lessons that I've learned along the way. Stumbled on one of my journal entry where I wrote down, I regret not ordering 2,000 of the products that I ordered and only ordering 500. And I wrote that down because it goes clearly with the quote in the beginning. It was a lesser goal. It was a goal of comfort. It was within my comfort zone. That was what I was willing to bet. That's all the chips I was willing to lose. Consequence, that product only performed, poorly because now as soon as it hit the marketplace, I was out of stock. And doing Amazon FBA, if you're out of stock, to relaunch, it takes a while. So you need to like take another 20 days for production, another 30 days for shipping. And then when it gets to warehouse, depending on the buffering on how Amazon is processing your thing, it might take another week or it might be quicker, but it's a good 50 days at least. So I think in general in life, we always set the bar low and hit it. And that's why even Les Brown said most people don't achieve their dream because they set low goals and they hit it, they feel successful. When in reality, they could have achieved more, but the comfort zone keep us in that playing safe zone where we don't want to lose and we don't win either. Right? We don't really win. To really win, you need to place those big bets on a good, well-researched project, and that's how you go from 0 to 100K, from 100K to 1 million. But I just think in society generally, we neglect that part of setting high bar goals that are impossible to reach. Because those goals, most of the time, to reach them, it takes new skills. For example, mentorship. One of the things I like when I started my government job is the value they put on mentors. I don't know how it is on other agency, but in the Department of Defense where I was working, mentorship was highly encouraged, and we even had it in our program. It was mandatory to have a mentor. And that really helped me grow. I'm talking about that because if you want to reach a goal that you never reached before, that nobody in your family has accomplished, you need that mentor. That mentor should be carefully chosen. You want somebody who already achieved what you want. And the funny thing is I've had a lot of mentors, right? Along the way, I had mentors at work, and I also had external mentors. Like, actually, if you go to this government website, I don't remember the name, but you can get a coach for free. I've had a couple mentors that I rotated, and along the years, I've learned something valuable from each of them. One of them was a millionaire who sold his business, and I wanted to work with him because that was my goal, and he really pushed me. He would bring me ideas, and I would bring him problem, and would give me solutions. That was so simple. For example, instead of complaining about not growing the business, having financial difficulties, cash flow issues. For people who do business, they understand that cash flow is very important. I'm gonna talk about it later on. But he would say, okay, have you thought about selling the business? And it was like a right question. Like by myself, I would have never thought of it. I never saw the business before. And it was a solution. Like, okay, if your business is worth, let's say 300K and you sell it, that's a lot of money, right? So to talk about cash flow, it's just that most of the time when you would talk to people about your business, to ask you if you're profitable. And that question always make a businessman laugh because profit is an idea. Profit is not something you can touch. Money in the bank is real to some extent, but profit is just a number on a balance sheet or income statement that says your revenue was greater than the expenses, and then there's profit down there. But a lot of business that are profitable actually can go bankrupt too, because if you don't have cash, you can be in very big difficulties. That's why we see a lot of successful businesses that will fail because they don't understand cash flow. If you don't have cash in the bank, you will not be able to pay employees, even though last month income statement say you were profitable. She say you were profitable. So in running your operations, you need to understand that. The next point I want to mention is coming back to the 500 units. It's an incident that I had this week with suppliers. This is totally different, but it's something that I'm learning because my topic today was your supplier respect your contract more than just words. But I had an incident that made me change my topic because my supplier, we had a contract where I had dimension for the boxes where we're going to put the shipment. And it was like 37 centimeters by 37 centimeters um by 30. I don't remember the exact words, but he told me the product were ready, will be ready next Friday. But I went ahead and create shipment plans with the measurement that he gave me, and I will put on the contract and we both signed. And he gonna come when I share the shipment plans with him that I spent a whole day making. He will come back and tell me, yeah, they increase each side by like 2 centimeters. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but you don't want to send your shipment to Amazon with different measurements because that means they will have to redo the calculation. And since they're using the workforce to do that, they will charge you by the time that it took them to redo everything and to put everything in the system. And they will charge you for the differences that it creates. So when you create your shipment plans, you want it to be exact as it leaves China so it gets to the warehouse. So your plans say it's the same numbers. So now that supplier puts me in huge problems because I'll have to redo the whole thing. And not only that, he didn't respect the close of the contracts. So right now we're in communication. And the guy, he didn't even like say, oh, sorry, this happened. I mean, at least he could have told me before I make the shipment plan. When he told me that, oh, yeah, it's going to be ready on Friday, he could have told me, by the way, we changed the dimensions. He didn't even bother telling that. That's so unprofessional. I have the habit of working with the pros that know what they're doing. Let me tell you something. China, doing business with suppliers in China, there are two categories. There are some people who are like the pros. I usually work with the pros. Like on my team, the pros. They're always on time, even faster, over deliver on the promise. I mean, and I work to build that portfolio. But sometimes when you launch new products, you get new suppliers in your team, and then it start getting it's so hard to find good suppliers. I know you might say, oh, why don't you use the pros to do the vetting and all that? But you know, sometimes how you would talk to somebody trying to, I mean, the pros are there, but I always trying to recruit more pro. Like, that's business because you don't know what might happen to one team member that would change your business and you don't want to be recruiting people when you need speed. So I got this new guy and he's just so unprofessional. And I'm sorry, like this is business, but I don't want to work with him the next batch, right? But now that I understand the products because he was the best person to work with, now that I can go back to my pros and be like, okay, this is what we order from him. Let's take it from there. Because we want speed. What I've learned my decade in business is speed beats everything. Speed gets profit. Speed beats competition. The only competition is you against you yesterday. Like you want to be faster. That's why people love Amazon, right? Amazon always delivers on time. And when they mess up, they send you free stuff. They're like Santa, You just order, oh Santa, this is what I want. And next day is at your door. Sometimes they even deliver early. That's why we all love Amazon. And yeah, that's what I've been dealing with this week. So those contracts sometimes it's not really enforced, but we're still in the talking stage. But I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste time. Tomorrow I may just ask my virtual assistant to to redo all the shipping plans. It's no problem, no brainer, but sometimes you want to make sure that there's an understanding because you don't want it to repeat. And that's one thing as a business person, you want to learn negotiation, communication. Those are very crucial skills to take you to the next level. Well, that's what I wanted to share today. My challenges, the opportunities, and all the good things that I've learned along the way. Take big steps to those goals. Select big goals that are impossible for you to achieve. Stop playing small. Start entering the big league with big steps, big dreams, and big goals, and keep dreaming big. That's my message.